Okay, so once again, a very warm good morning to Ms. Sarabjit Sidhu and to the students who have joined for the session today. And before we start with the session, I would like to extend a warm welcome and thanks to Ms. Sarab for accepting and taking a session for all of you today and sharing her knowledge on clinical trial transparency. Uh, just a brief introduction. Ms. Sarabjit Sidhu holds a master's degree in microbiology, and she is a postgraduate diploma holder in clinical research. She also has a master's degree in business administration, and she has over 12 years of experience in clinical trials, both in operations and medical writing, where she has worked with the multinationals in the throughout her career, and she started her career with the WHO, and currently she is working with GSK. And very recently she has published a book titled Clinical Research and Medical Writing Career Guide, and she is very active and looks forward to interact with the students and give webinars to the students with the motive to guide the students into the industry and the current trends in the clinical trials. So, saying this, I would not take much of time. Ms. Sarabjit Sidhu, the platform is yours, and from Cliniminds team, I thank you and for accepting the offer and taking your precious time today for taking a session and guiding the students on clinical trial transparency. Over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for a wonderful note. And as you said, that without any further ado, we will start immediately. So, when I was discussing on what topic we shall be speaking, in Cliniminds, so that with Mr. Kamal, he said that's better if we can speak on, on clinical trial transparency, because it's a new A, and B, there is a lot going in regulatory front. So in coming years to come in, you will see that this field is going to evolve a lot, because as every day the new regulations are coming. So just allow me to present. Right, I may go off camera so that you will have a better presentation view. So let's start. Do let me know if you can see my screen once. Let me show. So I hope you can see the slideshow.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very well. Then let's start. So, first of all, I assume that you all have a basic understanding of a clinical research. So, accordingly, I prepared today's session. So, this is going to be 1 hour session. I'll try to cover, in 45 minutes, my presentation in 45 minutes, and the rest in the 10-15 minutes, we can take your questions, right? So, and if you are having additional questions, then you may also ask me later. So what are the content we are going through in today's session is that, of course, we will be introducing to you what is clinical trial disclosure, or you can say clinical trial transparency, or it is also known as a public disclosure. So these are all different names it been called in different pharma world. So then next we will learn what information is made public. So when we are saying a public, because in clinical trial, what we learn is that everything is a confidential, but here on the contrary, I am saying transparency and the public. So what information we need to make a public? And although there are many national and international, regulations, but I will walk you through the leading ones, the US one and EU. And since we, of course, will be working in the Indian regulatory environment, I will take you through the Indian registry as well. So, and we will also talk around why it is a necessity, why we need to register our protocol or our results. So coming to our topic, what is clinical trial transparency? Transparency means is that pharmaceuticals, they are expected to share about their clinical trials, about their pipeline to public as well, right? And the scientific community as well, to both. Their obligation is that whatever research they are doing, and they are supposed to tell the world, okay, look, I'm doing research on this, right? And they are also having an obligation to a common public, because ultimately it's a common man who takes part in a clinical trial. So now I'll take you a little back around that, why it has been made regulatory. Now it's not an option. Clinical trial transparency, it is not an option. It's a mandatory, it's a law. You know, what happened in the past, like many pharmas or even, research institutes, they were doing clinical trials, right? But no one knows like what trial you are doing. So there is a lot of repetition, A. And what second thing they used to do is that they used to publish only the positive results. According to one study, if they are doing 100 trials, right, out of 98, out of 100, or approximately 98 trials are having positive result, which is not possible. That's only possible in a theory. So what that indicating is that they were just highlighting the positive results only. They were hiding the negatives. So that the implications of that hiding negative result is very high. Stakes are very high, because once you are hiding a negative results, it means that you are putting common people, the people who are going to take your pills, on a risk, right? So having said a lot, it is a broad term that covers sharing clinical trial data. So pharma is supposed to share their clinical trial data across international registries. Every nation has their own registry now these days, as well as other sponsored channels. Information on these international registry is accessible to common public. So this is very highlight of information. Now, a common person like as you, student, as me, as a lay person, man, I can go and I can see, okay, the Pfizer is running so many trials. So another is the clinical trial transparency is also known as the public disclosure. As I said, it's a new domain in a clinical trial. It has become, started in notice, coming in a notice in 2014. Then after 2017, it became a huge, and even in today's world, 2022, it is going to make a big. So just 2 decades old and granted significant attention recently. Clinical trial transparency came into existence with the aim to ensure that research practices are transparent, responsible, fully compliant with applicable laws and regulations, right? So as I said, like we make the information public. Now question comes, what information is made public, right? So what part of the trial made public? So it covers from start to end, right? How at the start of the, when we start a clinical trial, we are supposed to release a protocol, right? That's a part. We will learn about in detail, like what part of the protocol are released, right? And once your trial is over, we are also supposed to share the results. Like, okay, we started our trial with 5 objectives, and these are the 2 we achieved. For these 2, there are negative results. For one, there are neutral results. So it has 2 parts. One at the beginning of the trial, and second is at the end of the trial. So now question is coming from pharma, as I have given you a bit of background as that why we should register a trial. Why? So if I try to divide, it into us, try to put into the categories, that first is, of course, that your ICGCP says the right and right, safety and well-being of the subject. That is human subject protection, right? That's simple principle aligned to ICGCP, right? Then second is, which I have been spoken in the very beginning, is the research integrity. It's like if you are doing 10 trials, out of those 10 trials, how many having a positive results, right? And third is evidence-based medicine. Like it will help us, it will help researchers to understand like what is happening in the research field, right? And of course, it's a legal obligation. We have it. These are the reasons that one should register our trial on public site, on public, which is visible to everyone. So for human protection is it increases the transparency of information about trial. I will also walk you through, one of the registries where you can see that, okay, if a trial is going in my city, you will be able to understand, okay, these are trials going in my city. If I wanted to take a participation in that trial, I can take. See, this allow potential participant to find studies. So even it is also helpful for researchers. Research integrity is that it increases the transparency that if X person has conducted a clinical trial, Y person can learn from that trial. Okay, this pharma has conducted this trial, and these are the learnings from this trial. That is a research integrity, and it also helps us to avoid duplication of the research. If already that trial is going on, then there is no point to conduct another trial for that. So that helps. That's the research integrity, right? Evidence-based medicine. Now, then we will walk through the registry. You will be able to see that there are already millions and trillions of trials, right? And if you wanted to do some meta-analysis, you wanted to observe, okay, how many studies on a COVID has been conducted? Say, example, 8,000, 9,000. And can I divide those studies in category? Okay, these many were vaccine study. These were just learning about the patient. So you can do a meta-analysis from that registry, and this will help you to understand the evidence-based medicine. And of course, it is a legal obligation. If you don't register your trial, neither you can publish in any of the journals, and you also get a hefty fine. So these are the major clinical trial registries we will walk through today. One is that CT.gov, which is international registry. Second is European Union. Third is CTRI. So one by one, we will learn about these registries. In case you are having questions, you may ask me now, or you can make a note of those questions. We can discuss at the end, right? So let's go through the CT.gov. So how the background began, this is just, I kept it for your understanding so that you can correlate like how we have evolved in clinical trial transparency. So it's all started in the 1917 with very simple, objective that it is registration is mandatory for IND studies. IND means for the new drug application. If the trial is observational, then it's not a necessity. So if it is an interventional, then it's a necessity. Then another important mandate came, which is by ICMMG, which is International Journal. They emphasized that you must register your trial. And they went ahead saying that if you have not registered your trial, you can't publish in your journal. So that's happened in 2004. So in 2007, this became a law. And in 2008, see, in 97, they just said कि आपको एक बस protocol register करना है. बस result के बारे में they didn't talk. They just said कि protocol आपको register करना है. In 2008, they went ahead and said that आपको results भी बताने हैं, आपको basic results भी बताने हैं, right? कि आपके ट्रायल में कितने लोगों ने पार्टिसिपेट किया, 200 आउट ऑफ 200, कितने लोगों का ड्रॉप आउट हो गया, मे बी 10 आर ड्रॉप आउट, राइट? सो that is made mandate in 2008. And 2019 they said no, this went ahead with another step. They said nahi, adverse event का data भी दो, right? एडवर्स इवेंट का डेटा भी दो. एंड देन 2014 यहाँ से इसका प्रोग्रेस क्लिनिकल ट्रायल ट्रांसपेरेंसी का हैज बिकम एट अ फास्ट पेस. they started notice of proposing rule making. They started making specific rules for clinical trial transparency, and they said they sent a notice to all the pharmas like, look, we are going to make a rule for a clinical trial transparency, and they started having a discussion with pharmas, and indeed in 2016 they published this rule, this law being published in 2016, which is also known as a final rule. And then first they published, when they regulatory bring new regulation, वो कुछ time देती है pharma को उसके साथ adjust होने का, अपनी internal capabilities build करने का, you know. So they 2016 में ये publish हुआ and 2017 में ये effective हो गया. And इसके effective होने से क्या हो गया? Earlier it was a choice कि आपको result post करने हैं नहीं करने, it's up to you. जो बड़ी pharma थी, they used to do, the smaller pharmas they don't used to do, but now they are not having this choice. You have to, you know, there is a legal impact. So this is how it has evolved. We will walk through you this site in a minute. Let me cover the, you know, basics first. So what does this rule set to them? This is little advanced, but you know, I have kept a slide like if you wanted to go ahead and learn it further, you can, you know, learn. So all the trial, those are phase 2 to phase 4. Phase 1 is exempted. Phase 2 to phase 4, they are mandatory to register on these websites. Any trial which is done, and because this is regulation from US, so any trial which is under the jurisdiction of US, it is mandatory, right? So when you have to enroll your trial within 21 days of first subject, but generally we do much in advance because we don't want to put ourselves in a risk. Generally we do it before the start of the trial. Okay, so now I just hope that you guys having a basic understanding of a protocol. I just assume that. And what trial information we you know, register on these websites. So first is, if we go through a protocol, then we what study type is, okay? Is it interventional, or what type is the nature of this study that we disclose, and phase, which trial it is, phase 1, 2, 3, and design. Your crossover hai, parallel hai, you know, or single arm hai. What is the design of the study? Ye sab information from where you get from your protocol. And what are the outcome measures? Outcome measure means is the goals. What are the goals of your study as a primary and secondary? So both you have to, you know, register on these trials. And what is the eligibility criteria? आपको population के बारे में बताना है. So this whole page, the whole information is 2-3 page document, not more than that. So the locations, this is very important as well. You know, कौन से hospital हैं, कौन सी sites हैं where this trial is going to happen, and administration and other information. You know, key dates. Key dates means that when is you are going to start your trial, and when you are expected to complete your trial, any important milestone date, and the contact information of, you know, your main key persons. So I emphasized in location. The reason is that is also important for you guys as well. So tomorrow, if you wanted to see, you know, I wanted to take a hands-on experience in a clinical trial, maybe I can, you know, apply for an intern or nearby hospital or a research site. So you can simply go to these, you know, websites, these registries, and you can find like, okay, if I'm staying in Delhi, how many hospitals are listed in this, you know, registry, those are conducting trial, and then you can visit there and can apply for internship and, you know, maybe for a coordinator job, then you can get a hands-on experience. So you can also use this registry for your advantage, you know. And of course, you can learn a lot from these registries because information is available free there. And another important fact is very credible information is there, which is no one is going to teach you. So for the results, what we post, again, trial information, very simple case study का title क्या है, sponsor का detail क्या, participant flow. Participant flow is लाइक अगर 100 लोग पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं उसमें से मेन कितने हैं, विमेन कितने हैं, कितने ने कंप्लीट किया, कितने ने नहीं कंप्लीट किया, अगर किसी की डेथ हुई है या किसी ने विड्रॉ किया, दैट्स पार्टिसिपेशन। बेसलाइन करेक्टर, ओके, किस किस जेंडर और किस रेस एथनिसिटी किस रीजन से आ रहे हैं, अगर 4-5 कंट्री हैं उस ट्रायल में, देन रीजन ऑफ एनरोलमेंट लाइक 5 from India, 10 from Europe, 5 from US, something like that, right? We will learn in detail about this. And outcome measures, कि आपका primary goal क्या था, right? And secondary goal क्या था, और stats. Adverse events, how many adverse event has happened, all cause mortality, your serious adverse event and other adverse event, right? And of course the miscellaneous information, which is start date, first subject enroll date, study end date, last subject last visit date, so these type of information. Okay, now I'll stop this for a while and I'll share another screen where we can walk through, I am using the Can someone tell me that if they can see something, find a study, recruiting, not recruiting?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I have another question. मैं अकेले ही बोलती गई कि are you able to follow me whatever I said, or do you have any doubts? Okay, so this is the web address of ClinicalTrials.gov. So this is how it will look to you, and I will strongly recommend you that you guys go through these registries in your available time. You can learn a lot, and see if you see the number. So 411, 929, these are research studies in 50 states and 22 countries, 220 countries is going on. So this is the status. You will be able to explore all this data in this website, right? And so if you just wanted to see the list of clinical trials in COVID-19, you can just hit this. You will be able to learn. And the beauty of these registries is that you will be able to find a lot of learning material. So if I just enter any keyword, if I said that lung cancer example, so if I say lung cancer, and if I go on a search, you will see. So you are able to see that it has shown us result of 10,460 63 studies. So now on the right hand side, on the left hand side, you can also see the status, like not recruiting yet, and this is saying the completed, recruiting. So if you just hit this, and I will show you that what information is registered on this, right? So this is the title of the trial. So see, you can able to see the recruitment status, not yet recruiting, मतलब अभी study start नहीं हुई. So you will be able to see the brief summary, trial की summary क्या है, prospective observational clinical study, blah blah blah. So what is indication? So this is the disease. Intervention क्या है, lung cancer, right? So here they given have little more details. And as I told you, study type हमने पढ़ा था ना, क्या-क्या information हमें post करनी होती है registries पे. Like study type, see here it is written observational. So what is the estimated enrollment? See 1400 subject. And what is the model? Cohort. Is it a retrospective or prospective? It is written here. And this is the official title. एंड नाउ इफ यू वांट टू सी कि इसके आउटकम मेजर क्या है, ये स्टडी में देखना क्या चाह रहे हैं, गोल क्या है, आउटकम मेजर इज सिंपली गोल, तो तुम्हारा प्राइमरी गोल क्या है, सेकेंडरी गोल क्या है. सो प्राइमरी गोल इज सो द इंसिडेंट ऑफ रिस्क एवल्यूशन, सिंपली वो देखना चाह रहे हैं कि कितने इंसिडेंट होते हैं, 100 में से 5 हो रहे हैं या 10 हो रहे हैं. सो दैट इज देयर so first goal, this is their second goals, right? So this is overall survivor, like अगर 12 month के लिए ये study करें तो कितने लोग survive कर रहे हैं. So if you go down, this is eligibility criteria, आपका admission criteria to have you in a study. So age is, you can see here, gender, all are acceptable, healthy volunteer, so this is an observational study, so see, healthy volunteer, no. Sampling method, probability sampling. So this you can, you can make lot many assignments related to these registries, which can, really scale up your learning. So this is about the protocol. Like if we wanted to register a protocol before the start of study, this is how it looked like. It's very simple but very informative. And second thing, you can see that ye sponsor kaun hai. See. So I also wanted to show the locations. So if you come down, you will be able to see the locations. Okay. So this is study which is happening in China. Similarly, on the Indian registry CTRI पे भी you can see कि okay हमारे country की कौन-कौन सी sites हैं, वहाँ पे mobile and email ID दिए होते हैं. So this is the sponsor, this is investigator. So every information you can learn here. So this is about a protocol. So now let's see the how results look like. Okay, so we wanted to see result. Of course, जहाँ पे status है recruiting, उसके तो result नहीं होंगे. So to narrow it down, I think we can see from here status completed. So we can select here study result all. So यहाँ पे हमने all select कर रखा था with result और without result. So अभी हमने क्या देखना है, results देखने हैं. We are quite interested in a result. So with results. So let's refine the result and apply. So now we will also able to see the, we will be able to see the studies, those have results only. So see, completed and has results. Now I'll show you कि result कैसे दिखते. So see कितनी studies के result है, 1493 studies के result है. So this is the tab, we hit the study result. So this study international, allocation ये था, device ये दी गई, enrollment count 128, results कम से कम 20-30 pages के होते हैं. So यहाँ पे आपको ना everything you will make it very clear कि आम था, आम means कौन सी मेडिसिन दी गई है, इसमें उसको किस कैटेगरी में रखा गया. ये देखो इसमें 128 ने स्टार्ट किया, 128 ने कंप्लीट किया. इट मीन्स withdrawn या डेथ ऐसा कुछ हुआ नहीं. तो इफ यू वांटेड टू अंडरस्टैंड द कंप्लीट स्टोरी, किस ट्रायल में किसको क्या मिला, ये डिस्क्रिप्शन पढ़ सकते हो. सी आपको ना बहुत इजीली स्टडी का डिजाइन पता चल जाएगा. डिस्क्रिप्शन में वो क्या कह रहा है. Deep lung sputum was obtained from 2 cohorts, including high risk control, compromised individuals not diagnosed but high risk for lungs. उसमें कितने लोग उन्होंने लिए, 100. That is one part. Second में क्या लिया, cancer group of individuals with confirmed lung cancer. एक ग्रुप में उन्होंने लिखा कि जो हाई रिस्क पे है, सेकेंड ग्रुप में उन्होंने लिए जो कंफर्म्ड केसेस. सो दिस इज हाउ उन्होंने 2 कोहॉर्ट बनाए. तो आपके ना डिफरेंट स्टडी डिजाइन यहाँ पे आके देखो, उनको लर्न करो, so that your learning can scale up. So ये देखो जैसे हमने बोला था baseline characters, age 128, ये cohort 1 में इतने लोग हैं, cohort 2 में इतने हैं, and n is total number. So this is percentage, and see the male and female, female इतने हैं, male इतने हैं, enrollment. So this is their primary objective. ये complete description, primary goal क्या था उनका. अब primary goal के results देखते हैं. See, ये 128 लोगों के रिजल्ट्स आए हैं. सेंसिटिविटी में ये डेटा है, स्पेसिफिसिटी में ये है, एक्यूरेसी में ये है. सो दिस इज सिंपल, दिस लुक्स लाइक सिंपल स्टडी. एक ही ऑब्जेक्टिव है, एक ही प्राइमरी आउटकम मेजर है, एक ही. सो देन वी विल बी एबल टू सी द एडवर्स इवेंट. सी एडवर्स इवेंट. इस स्टडी में अनफॉर्चुनेटली ज्यादा एडवर्स इवेंट इन्होंने नहीं दिए. सीरियस में सी देखो 0 है, कोई एडवर्स इवेंट नहीं है. So this is basically very simple study. So if we test another study, I wanted to show you the adverse event especially. So this study में ज़्यादा adverse event होंगे because this is phase 2 study. So if I take you through, see this is all the description about the study. किस group को क्या मिला? It's given here in the result section. So even if you will see 73 ने स्टार्ट किया, 57 ने कंप्लीट किया और 16 ने नहीं कंप्लीट किया एक ग्रुप में, और दूसरे ग्रुप में 78 ने स्टार्ट किया, 65 ने कंप्लीट किया, 13 ने नहीं किया. सो नाउ अभी इनको ये 13 का हिसाब देना पड़ेगा कि व्हाट हैपेंड टू दीज 13. सो 2 लोगों ने विड्रॉ कर लिया, 7 की डेथ हो गई, 2 का लॉस्ट फॉलोअप हो गया. सो ये अगेन दिस इज the number for the another group. And if I'll take you to our adverse event, I wanted to show you the adverse event. So this is baseline, primary. So see, this is adverse event. So out of affected कितने लोगों को adverse event हुआ group में out of 73 5 को, and usual care में 78 को, out of 7 from 78, so which means 9%. It here is 7%. So serious adverse event कितने लोगों को हुआ? 19 को हुआ, and usual care में 11 को हुआ. So what type of serious adverse event it was? It was hospitalization. See. So, and other type of not including serious, what are they? They are 22 and in one group and 13 in another group. So what was the disorder? It was collected by systemic assessment. So this is how you can visit these websites and can learn about different trials. और maybe ऐसे भी हो सकता है कि maybe you are going for an interview और आपको पता है कि I have to work in a COVID study, or I have to work in the cardiovascular disease, or I have to work on the respiratory. So you can come here on these websites and can learn about that therapeutic. Okay, phase 2 में कैसी studies होती हैं, phase 4 में कैसी होती है. See, this was phase 2. So इसमें allocation में देख सकते हो आप study design में. See, everything is given, very clear, randomized, parallel assignment, open label. Primary purpose क्या था? Treatment का purpose. So this is how you can learn. So I hope it is clear. So let me go back to our presentation again. So are you able to see my presentation now?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So till now what we have discussed, is it clear, or we have to come back to some topic more effectively?
It's clear.
Clear, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
thanks. Okay, thank you. So now if you see, I have given a let me go to a share mode. So I have given address of each web registry. So you just can visit here, keep visiting these registries, right? So this is what I have walked you through. Okay, क्या हमें रजिस्टर करना होता है, क्यों करना होता है. लेकिन अगर कोई फार्मा अपना ट्रायल रजिस्टर ना करे तो क्या हो सकता है? So there are many things you can go through one by one. One is, you can't publish your, any research paper in any of the international journal. So that is a big setback, right? Or you may be fined by $10,000. This is a heavy fine. And ऐसा नहीं है कि regulations follow नहीं करते, they follow. Even if you get late for to publish your results, they write to you, okay, look, you have not published your result, this is the time with you, either you publish or you will be fined. You get notice from the regulatories. And this can be a big inspection and audit finding, yes. And you will get a warning letters, right? Or bad press. Big pharma, they don't want this information to come out. So they don't want tomorrow FDA's or DCGI is saying that this pharma has not registered their, trial on our registry. So that is a bad press release which will affect their investor relationship. So it will damage their reputation, goodwill, and brand equity. Everything is at a stake, right? So now I'll also tell you a little about Udracity, because this is also a leading international, registry. So it is almost, if we look at the data element, those are published on all these registries, they are almost same. जैसे मैंने आपको प्रोटोकॉल का दिखाया, रिजल्ट्स का दिखाया, सभी वेबसाइट्स पे सेम दिखते हैं. So इसीलिए मैंने सोचा कि for one I can give you the complete detail, for others we can just over. So it is for US, that was applicable for all the trials. Those are happening in US territory. For Udracity, it is responsible for the trials. Those are happening in European Union, right? So there is one big difference between US and Udracity. That is, for US, they said that phase 2 to phase 4, but Udracity is not like this. They are saying phase 1 to 4. So that is the difference. That is the key difference, right? And this is the site, their site. You can visit that, spend some time, right? Okay, so now what is submitted to this Udracity? Again, protocol registration and the result register. And there is also little difference. For the protocol registration, mostly it is submitted along with your dossier. When we take a permission for a trial, it goes with that dossier. So that is not in the case of US. You can register later as well, right? So when it is required, before the start of the trial, right? And the result, once your result is complete, once our study is complete, we have to publish result within 1 year. Right? Suppose today is the date, 20th April को मेरी study complete हुई है, मेरे को 20th April 2023 से पहले अपनी result submit करनी है. So that is the deadline. Mostly regulation का 1 year का time है, और protocol के लिए before the start of the trial, and for the results once your study is complete. And Udracity में ने थोड़ा सा exception है when it comes to pediatric population. पेडियाट्रिक पॉपुलेशन के लिए उनका क्या मैंडेट है, आपको 6 मंथ के अंदर ही रिजल्ट सबमिट करना है. So this is I made a note here. Please note that results include almost same information as we discussed that for a ClinicalTrials.gov in our previous slide. So it looks almost same. So I highly encourage you, please guys, go through that website. So now coming to CTRI, which is for India. So the big difference for this CTRI is that अभी तक कोई provision नहीं है हमें result submission का. Result submit नहीं करने पड़ते, सिर्फ protocol register कर दो चलेगा. So when this came to existence, again this is also a free online public record, right? This is launched in 2017, but it made effective in 9. So by DCGI, and it is located in ICM. The in charge is in hands of ICMR, right? That is, I think, in their stats department. So what is required to register? Need to register any interventional trial, which means phase 1 to phase 4. So BAB studies or observational studies are not required, right? So this is the website. I will encourage you. You go through this website. You can also find like, okay, what are the hospitals, what are the research sites available in my city, right? Go there, apply for internship. Clinical trial का क्या है ना jobs का कि it is bit difficult to get in. पहला job लेना difficult है, but once you are there, then it's become easier. So I'll encourage you. You apply for internship and other positions while you are studying. So this is how it looks like. You can search here, just simply put anything, type of trial. You can even, you can select from a drop down, and study design also you can select from a drop down, and then you can simply search. So, and also their tutorials are available there. See, this is ICMR, National Institute of Medical Statistics. So this is with their stat department. It is within ICMR, but with their stat department. So I also wanted to tell you one thing. ठीक है, हम इन पे प्रोटोकॉल लिख रहे हैं, रिजल्ट सबमिट करते हैं, but the strict part is we will get lot of questions from their end. Very high number of questions from a regulatory जो हमें solve करने होते हैं. So that is that makes you to take your job and very seriously. So that's the high stake in this transparency. You have to be very alert all the time. So if you wanted to make a difference, like okay, disclosure, medical writing से कैसे different है? Sorry, as of now हम लोग medical writing के बारे में ही मालूम है. Mostly लोगों, people talk about medical writing only, but disclosure is evolving. और अगर मैं आपको statistics दूं, इस year UK has started their own registration. And Udacity has went ahead with another step. वो क्या कह रहे हैं कि आप lay language में भी आप हमें results दो. Lay language means is that a language which is simplified enough that a grade of 7th or 8th can easily understand. Like, then we also write like what is placebo. We can't write a placebo. We have to define what placebo is. We can't write their randomization. We have to simplify the randomization. So they have expecting us to write the results in lay language. So UK is also starting their own registry. I think that will be effective from next year. And if you go to job portals, even today, you will be able to see the new roles are coming in. That disclosure lead, disclosure analyst, clinical trial analyst, clinical trial transparency writer. So what is the difference between these two? For a medical writing, you write, write protocols, you write CSR, you write manuscripts, or you develop ICF, everything. But here is that those documents, those are developed by medical writer, they become your source document, right? आप तो protocol से आप protocol form बनाओगे. So that is, those become your source document. So it is a mix of two. So this is expectation from a disclosure lead is need to adapt to fast changing guidelines. Guidelines बहुत जल्दी change हो रही हैं because this field is evolving. For a clinical trial disclosure on target database. Target database is that किस website के लिए आप लिखना चाह रहे हो? Is it a US or UK? Right? Should be disclosure ready, right? So we should be knowing how we can define our primary and secondary goals. There should not be an ambiguity. Then medical writing team should involve disclosure medical writers to review to have a review in their team. So, now just the way I am working in a disclosure team, they always send us a protocol. Okay, this is our protocol. Can you please review it from a disclosure perspective? उसका reason है, हम लोग अपने primary and secondary जो ऑब्जेक्टिव है वो एक पब्लिक वेबसाइट पे डाल रहे हैं. वो पब्लिक वेबसाइट सबको एक्सेसिबल है, राइट? अगर फाइजर उस पर अपने ट्रायल डाल रहा है तो इट मीन जीएसके उसको देख सकता है, राइट? तो वो स्मार्टली उतनी ही इंफॉर्मेशन वहां डालेंगे जो कि कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी उनकी ब्रेक ना करे, सो दैट जो कॉम्पिटिटर है उनकी की इंफॉर्मेशन ना ले सके. दैट इज अ बिग चैलेंज. So this is how you can, find your role as a medical writer or a disclosure. So you can, read it through in your free time. So registration protocol and submission of result is a critical step, in a pharmaceutical world, because it's a legal obligation. When something is illegal, people pay a lot of attention. There is an increased demand of a transparency, right? And as I said, now the new demand is coming up, like you present your result in a lay language, right? So medical writers, they act as a bridge between, regulatories and preparing transparent documents. And another thing is that if you are working on a disclosure document, you have to coordinate with so many people. You have to be coordinating with the physician, you have to coordinate with the lead scientist, you have to coordinate with the legal person, you also have to be coordinating with the regulatory. So जो आपकी learning होती है ना वो बहुत high होती है. So till now, this is all about the clinical trial transparency. And I will also take a moment to talk about my book. So this is the book I have worked on, and this book is in general talks about what is clinical research and what is medical writing in principle. And do have two parts. Is that one is that what is the basic about the clinical research, is the fundamentals about the clinical research, and part two will walk you through what the medical writing and how the medical writing documents are developed. And this book also do have a chapter on clinical trial transparency, and it also includes a chapter on your interview process. So mm, and this is the link if you wanted to see that where this book is available. And this is my LinkedIn account if you wish to connect with me. So next is, and we are open to questions. Feel free to ask a question if you have. I am on time, so.
Ma'am, can you share your link? I just missed it. LinkedIn.
Okay, it's simply Sarabjit Sidhu. So I really wanted to talk around this topic. We can discuss. Please feel free to ask a question. And yes, if you wanted to take a job in a clinical trial transparency, you have to be very strong on these regulations, US and EU. So always memorize this, and Udacity and CTRI. So at least three websites, at least two, US and EU, you should be knowing if you know you are applying on some transparency job. And another thing is that it is well paid job also. Like you can start with 25, or I don't know exactly, but if I make an average, it will come around at 25 or 20 to 30, something like that, between 20 to 30. But you can have a very progressive career in a clinical trial transparency. But you, again, same time, you have to build on your knowledge part. So we are open to question. I will love to answer your questions. Please feel free to ask.
Ma'am, hello, ma'am. Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Sandy, yes.
Ma'am, this is Trupti, and I had very vivid question. Even I have done my master's in microbiology, and I've done a PG diploma in regulatory, and I'm interested in clinical trials also. So, what are the different positions and hierarchy that we can look for in when we talk about clinical research and clinical data management?
See, if I tell you in general, because your question is general, so in a clinical trial or data management or pharmacovigilance or any regulatory, in any function of clinical trial, right? So it is mostly started with associate level, or sometimes people call them analyst also, then senior associate or senior analyst, then consultant, or then senior consultant, then manager, then senior manager, then a director. It's like this, right? But it's a general. There may be a differences also, like in few organizations, in big, pharmas, they don't have so many layers. In a CRO, these are the layers, like associate, senior associate, then consultant, then senior consultant, then manager. But in pharma, they may be having two or three options only, like maybe a coordinator, writer, then a manager, then a head. So they maybe have a less layers, but it goes like this only.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Hello, ma'am.
Any other question?
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Yes.
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible? Hello.
So you are not audible. Your voice is very feeble.
Ma'am, am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Ma'am, I wanted to ask, can you tell us more about the new position in clinical trial transparency?
So in position in clinical trial transparency start with clinical trial disclosure writer. If one is disclosure writer, second is you can also find in a way medical writer in a clinical trial transparency, or you can see the initial level of position clinical trial transparency associate or analyst. So something like that.
Okay, ma'am.
Or sometimes coordinator also, because few pharma they use this word, clinical trial transparency coordinator. So that's also.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. And just to my, I am quite intrigued to understand, like, have you heard before our session, have you guys heard about clinical trial transparency or not?
No,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
No,
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
So I'm strongly giving you a homework back. Go through it. All these registries that I have shown you. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
yes.
So these are the registries that I have given you, right? This is EU, and I think I have given you US as well. I will remember. Yes. Go through these website, वहाँ पे there the one thing you will find is resource. So you will find lot of information. Read it. So clinical trials make your skill is main thing. It's all about your skills, and all these are global roles. It's not like you will be working with the India. If you are doing a job in India, suppose it's not like that you will be working with Indian team only. These are global roles. Those will give you a lot of exposure. So go through these websites, go through CTRI as well, learn. So all the companies, like TCS, even Exozyme, Kyneps. Now Kyneps is known as with Cineos. So this Kineps was the leader in clinical trial transfer. They are the one who built a capability in India. So they all have keep on having fresh openings for a clinical trial transparency associates and even pharmas. But pharma का क्या होता है ना, they like to take an experienced person who already worked in CRO. So अगर आपको really job के लिए you wanted to start, focus on CROs more. It's not like they don't apply for pharma, but pharma का क्या ना, they follow a trend कि अगर किसी ने already CRO में काम किया, they prefer them, right? So it's very good, opportunity for you guys that start with CROs. Any other question?
Hello.
Yes.
Ma'am, whatever clinical trials are conducted in India, is it necessary to register in both, like the US website also and the Udra also?
No. They are applicable to their territory, right? If you are conducting your trial in India, you have to register on CTRI.
Yes.
So, but if your drug is coming from US, it is manufactured in US, then you have to register on both.
Okay, ma'am.
So even I have just told you about 3 registries only. There are many. Spain has its own, Israel has its own, Kenya has its own, and Israeli registry is very strong. China has its own, Japan has its own, and Germany's registry is very strong. So every country has their own clinical trial registry. And Health Canada is coming up with many requirements. So that is the reason we are getting a job. So many openings in clinical trial transparency, because Health Canada का क्या expectation है कि आप हमें पूरा का पूरा CSR submit करो, और फिर पूरा CSR submit करना, तो जो फार्मा क्या करते हैं, जो important information है ना, important in the sense जो confidential से related information है, उसको redact करते हैं, मतलब उसको redact, how to put it in simplify, उसको black out करते हैं, so that no one can read that. So these regulations, they are coming with very strong laws. So that is the reason every pharma, every CRO, they are developing their transparency.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Ma'am, so this information which is there on the these websites registry, this is accessible to everyone, as in we can access the US website also and the Euro website also to see any.
Yes, because these are public registries. These are public websites. Anyone at any time can, access these websites. And even pharma, they do the competence intelligence from these registries only. Because every information is available free. If I wanted to see, oh, my competitors is therapeutic area in इस therapy पे क्या trial कर रहा है, if I wanted to do that analysis, intelligence analysis, I can simply do that. So anyone can access that website at any time.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Ma'am, if hello.
Yes, you are audible, please.
Yes, ma'am. Publishing the AI-related information on these sites, can it lead to low recruitment rate of subjects for further studies?
That is the objective of this registry. The objective of this registry is that whatever you are doing, it should be there in a black and white. So if you are expecting that because we are publishing the results, especially AE data, so that can impact our further study enrollment, then you should be prepare your study design in a way that you can address those concerns. So that is the total objective of this, registries.
Yes. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, is the clinical research coordinator and clinical trial transparency coordinator are same or different?
Different. So,
What are
coordinators, it's all depend on JD, your job description. If you are going to be a coordinator for a coordinator job for a site, hospital, then you have to work along with the investigator to, to complete day-to-day clinical trial related work. But if you are clinical trial transparency coordinator, basically you will be preparing these forms. You will be preparing these I have shown you somewhere. You will be preparing this form for a registry. So that is the difference.
so a clinical research coordinator can be a clinical trial transparency coordinator later. Hello, ma'am.
I think Sarab ma'am has disconnected. So if there are any questions, you can send your questions on email. Please send the questions at academics@cliniminds.com. So I'm just posting the email ID. If you have any questions, please send your questions on this email ID, and we'll try to take it forward to Ms. Sarab so that it can be answered. So thank you all of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, the session was till 12:30. Is there any other session or?
No, there is no other session. I think in the schedule it was mentioned 12:30, but it ideally was for only 1 hour.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.